welcome back to the Broker Life podcast. My name is Mark Panazon, and I'm a mortgage broker with Mortgage Connection. I am licensed in Alberta and BC and have been doing mortgages for over 15 years. Today's guest is Dave Ozubko, Realtor with Remax River City. Welcome back to the show, Dave.
Mark, what's happening, my friend? Good to see you.
Likewise. So for viewers who didn't get to listen to I think it was episode 2 of you and I, who kind of breaking ground, getting this out there into the world. Why don't you just give us a quick reintroduction of who you are, what your team is about, your experience, your journey, etc.
Yeah, cool. Dave Ozubko, your hashtag realtor to the rescue, as I call myself, helping people and pets find forever homes. Small little residential team here with Remax River City. My wife works with me full time. She's licensed. We've got an awesome partner with Sarah Newnham, who's been with us for a couple of years. Couple virtual assistants who help with our admin and marketing along the way. And I think we're going to be maybe looking at bringing somebody new onto the team later on in this year.
That's news. That's news to me. Okay. Expanding. So that's good. Expanding in sort of a down market, right? That's what you're supposed to do.
We are trying to take advantage and double down on our marketing, our presence, and everything that we do in a time where we can hopefully maybe gain and pick up a little bit of market share, Mark.
You know, every book I read, every podcast I watch, that's what all the experts say, right? It's when times are bad is when you kind of sort of got to double down and create more value in the marketplace, right? So maybe there's less buyers now, but they'll remember this stuff. And if you get your message out now while everyone's giving up or folding in, you know, those are the leaders of the organizations that last, right?
Well, that's our hope, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so thank you for that. You know, we're now in July, mid-July, right in the middle of the year. The last time we had you on was March, so it was more of like a spring update. What do we expect for the year? Some projections. Why don't you give us a quick update on where we are now after, I guess it's been almost 5 months. What's the last 5 months been like? What's the current status of the Edmonton real estate market?
Well, I think we're kind of at the halfway mark. We've got stats now for the end of June, which would put us at the end of Q2, right? So market's been interesting. Overall unit sales here in Edmonton is down about 30%. Obviously comparing that to last year where we were hitting some record highs with sales and volume. So, depending how you look at that number. But interestingly enough, inventory levels are down about 15% plus or minus, which for the most part has been a big indicator on, why prices have held pretty steady, so to speak.
Okay. Sales down, listings down, prices are kind of stable. You said 30%. Is that year over year or is that month over month, or that's probably year over year, right?
Yeah, that data there can be presented in so many different ways, and then depending on how you want to look at it. So as a refresher for just some homework today, I went and pulled our data. And year to date, the Edmonton Real Estate Board has us at about 11,000 actual unit sales. And when I was looking at June of last year through the Edmonton Realtors Association, there was 15,000 unit sales. So we're down about 4,000 sales. And, if depending on how you break it down, it's about 30%.
Okay. Now, how would you say this sort of summer market has compared to previous summer markets? Obviously, sales are down. You just mentioned that, but are with prices being steady, is it more just people sitting on the sidelines?
I felt personally that the last or Q2 for us was busier than Q1. We were starting to make some pretty good headway. Listings are moving, buyers are buying. And then, of course, our friends over at the federal government want to get their hands dirty again and kind of disrupt everything. And now there certainly seems to be a little bit more uncertainty. Buyers are unsure what to do. And then we have buyers that are, well, I better get into something before the interest rates go up again. So yeah, there's a little bit of volatility and uncertainty happening for sure. And everybody's situation and circumstance is different.
Yeah, you're right, because there was a point where we had 8 rate hikes in a row and then they paused. And I would agree. My market in the spring was starting to pick up as well, which begs the question, isn't like it's not really where the rates are, it's how stable it is, right? So if there's stability and you know the government's got to make any changes, you can start planning your future. But if rates keep going up or down, you're just sort of like in this panic mode. So here we are again, as you mentioned. Yeah.
Also got the typical seasonal ebbs and flows of our industry too, right? Like spring market's typically hot, everybody's trying to get in. Summertime slows down a little bit as people are away, holidays, vacation, children out of school, their priorities are elsewhere. So there's other kind of factors to consider as well, right?
Yeah. In terms of the house prices, you mentioned they're relatively stable. Um, are homes being sold above, below list, or is it a competitive market, or are they all being discounted? Like, where's the price action going here?
You know, Mark, it's that's a very interesting question, and the answer there isn't a straight answer. There's a lot of homes that are still getting competing in multiple offers that are selling above asking. And we're seeing a lot of homes that are sitting on the market, and we're seeing price reductions at like that second 3 week on the market where they're having to make a 3 to 4% adjustment because there's been no buyers for it. So price and presentation is still a key driver. And the buyers that are shopping are certainly in favor of homes that are well cared for, more turnkey, move-in ready, and where there's some pride of ownership. There's still some junk on the market where sellers aren't taking the time and the effort to effectively prepare their home for sale.
Interesting. Lazy sellers. Yeah.
Right? Clean it
Uh,
up, paint, cut the lawn.
yeah, I know, right? And these are basic things regardless of what market you're in, right? Just present your home as if someone would want to buy it. Would you want to buy your own home in that shape, right?
Yeah.
What about the demographics? Has that changed at all year over year? Or the same people buying homes? Is it young families? Is it seniors? Is it out of towners? People from Ontario and BC coming to buy homes? Like, what are you seeing from the demos?
Yeah, the net migration into Alberta has certainly been a driving factor of our industry this year.
Yeah.
We've done, and I don't know, 7, 8, 9 out of province relocations this year, and a couple new to Canada. Mostly people moving from east or west because of the affordability of housing. There's jobs out here for those who actually choose and want to work. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity, and those buyers have been, a younger demographic where they can't afford to buy anything in the eastern or western provinces. They'll be saving up for years to even have a down payment, and they can come here and pick up a decent house for 300s, which would never be an option otherwise. So in that sense, it's really nice to see.
Yeah. No kidding. So, good place to be in Alberta. Certainly, Edmonton, one of the most affordable places. In terms of the types of homes, so detached, condos, duplex, etc. Are there any really changes within the type of home, or is it kind of a mixed bag? Are more people flooding to condos for affordability, or because it's so affordable, is it still wide open? Alberta's open for business kind of deal.
Well, the single family dwelling without the condo fees is definitely a preferred choice for most. However, the entry point for that type of property is, around 500K. So that's starting to creep up. And that pricing is actually down 2% from last year. So we haven't really seen much of an adjustment there. Um, we've seen more activity on the condo side because you can get into, an apartment style condominium for under 200 grand. But those properties we're seeing pricing down again 5% year over year, and those properties have been on a steady decline for several years now, right? So it's all over the board, Mark. It really depends on what you're looking for, where you want to live, what your budget is, and then I think lifestyle is also a big part of it.
Any guesses on why the condo market just seems to be this drag in Edmonton or area? Like, being an investor myself and having a condo, I just keep seeing my assessment value going down year after year. And I've had that thing for, I don't know, 15 years or something. And it's worth less now than it was when I bought it. So what's the deal with condos?
Well, there continues to be more and more new condo developments that are put up in the suburbs, so to speak. And they're building these newer wood frame 3, 4 story apartments, and the pricing on them from an entry level standpoint is very approachable. And then we saw with COVID the downtown core, a lot of people moved out of there, so we've got a higher vacancy rate down there, and the drive and the attraction for, that downtown business or person or market who's looking to have a condo in the core, the sales aren't there. There's so many options of resale, and the buyer activity is just, I've got a condo for sale right now. There's about 9 months worth of inventory in the building.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Yeah, that's tough. So they keep building more condos. New developments come up. People obviously want new, and the price point is reasonable on all fronts. So why would you pick an older unit? And, and and also, I guess, are people leaving condos? Are they upgrading? Do you find, or um,
There's a there's a dark cloud over the word condo and condo fees. People immediately think special assessment, levy. And unfortunately, there's many people and families that have had or been impacted by these, corporations or condos that aren't run properly. And there's been some heavy special assessments. And, people would just prefer to kind of avoid that if possible. I'm not saying that's always the case, but there is a bit of a stereotype on them.
and then also maybe a good entry point, right? Because there's a lot available. The prices remain low for condos, so all these people moving into province, or perhaps people graduating, or getting ready to purchase their first home, condo might be the best thing you can get at this point, or a really good way to get into the market.
We've worked with some buyers this year, and I'll just share a story of one the other day. The couple was downsizing from their really nice home, and they wanted a condo for them to kind of, retire in. And they had a healthy budget, but we found something for the low $300,000. And honestly, it's like 1,600 square feet, um, 2 bedrooms, full den, 2 full baths. It's in a really nice building. It's overlooking a nice big water feature and pond. Like heat and utilities are included, like incredible value. So you're gonna have to there's definitely great condos out there. You just got to be selective and choosy on where you want to be.
And you can. So to sum it all up, would you say that it's still and this might be an obvious question and answer, but is it a good time to buy in Edmonton right now, given all the market conditions and everything you sort of mentioned? People are obviously flooding into Alberta, suggesting it is a good time. What's your take? Is it a great time to buy real estate? Should people be waiting?
I think the migration numbers into Alberta is going to be a key driver for anybody that's currently living here and plans to remain an Albertan for an extended period of time. The people that are moving to our province are certainly going to be looking for housing as well. So it's gonna make it more competitive on the rental side and on the resale side for sure.
I completely agree with you. And I'm glad that we're in alignment with that, because I watched a podcast the other day about the US market and how there's 40-year cycles. In the last 40 years, rates have been climbing, or rates have been dropping. But the previous 40 years, so dating back to like World War II, 1930, 40s, rates were climbing. So we've kind of hit this peak. And so if we're, the argument is that we're in this next 40-year cycle, rates are at the bottom, and now they're just going to keep climbing. So if people do think rates are coming back down, I don't know, man. Yeah. So you're going to want to get in. You're going to want to get into the market, and you want to get in before rates are too high, unaffordable high. Okay. It's funny. It reminds me of a story of a client that I helped maybe 21 or 2020, right after COVID, and rates were really low, 1.5%, something like that. And we had the conversation of, what do you want to pick? What do you want to go with? A 5-year fix, which was what everybody goes with typically. Do you want to take a risk on that variable, which was like 0.99%? Or do you want to go, super long, like a 10-year fix, which honestly in my career I don't even sell one a year. It's maybe one every 2 or 3 years. And he goes for the 10-year fixed. Okay. And the rate must have been, I have to go back and look, but it must have been like, I want to say like high twos, maybe like 3 or 3.3%. Which obviously today is a bargain. And it's kind of having that kind of foresight to think like, okay, it's really cheap right now, but is this sustainable? It's just a moment of time. And so kudos to Mike Solerator out there. If you're listening, you're kicking butt right now. It's that 10-year fixed.
Way to go, Mike.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about what's ahead. So we know kind of where we are. Let's talk about the rest of the year, early 2024. You kind of mentioned the numbers already were down. I pulled up some numbers of my own in terms of the CREA's forecasts. Listen to these numbers, which are interesting. So the quarterly forecast predicts Alberta to have the second highest percentage change in home prices in the country, of 6.8%, next to Nova Scotia, which is 8.1% for next year. So Alberta is predicted to have a big boost in prices. Do you agree with that?
It's a blended number, Mark, and depending on how you want to dissect it and look at it, Calgary, which isn't the capital of Alberta, I have colleagues that work down there, and their market is still very hyperactive. Lots of stuff selling way above asking price. The demand seems to be there. There's also a growing tech sector in Calgary, which is bringing in some more higher paying jobs, which is great. So, depending on how you want to look at it, I think there's certainly the opportunity for growth. And, from what I said earlier, I believe pricing here in Edmonton is going to hold steady. If not, we might see a slight increase. So, when you average the both out, I think we're in for still a decent market here in Alberta.
That's interesting. With sales projected to be increased, I'm reading 9%. Home prices increasing in Alberta. And obviously, as you mentioned, Edmonton and Calgary are totally different markets. Boy, Calgary's having some supply issues right now, hey? Where they got 1.5 months or something of supply. It's bananas. Korea's still projecting that there's going to be an increase in prices. So that has to speak to the demand that we're seeing right now, right? All these people flooding in, as you mentioned. The migration numbers are key, no question. Hey, I'm coming back to Alberta, so I'm going to contribute to that stat. New construction.
But we have builder partners that we work with, and it's certainly a percentage of our overall unit sales in our portfolio. So yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what that market looks like right now and what you project in the future, given construction costs have been higher?
I can speak maybe on some of the higher end infill builders out there. I mean, there's still a lot of the numbers are tight for those builders to keep building houses. The land prices of the homes hasn't dropped that much, and really supplies, trades, and labor. We've seen lumber and some materials go down, but a lot of it still isn't down to where it was. So the margins on these houses are a lot tighter than they used to be. So the new housing starts on the infill side has got to be down, because these guys just don't have the ability to put a bunch of shovels in the ground, build these houses, and wait and see what happens, right?
Yeah. Okay, good. So I guess that'll be something to watch then for next year. Okay, let's talk about some of the things you got planned for the rest of the year. You're big into the community. You're big into helping pets, rescues, etc. Any big events or plans for the rest of the year?
Well, actually, yeah, we have our client appreciation party happening this Sunday, July 23rd, over at Remax Field, which we're super excited to be a part of and partnered with the Edmonton River Hawks and Homes Alive Pets. We're doing what's called Hawks and Hounds. It's bring your well-behaved dog to Remax Field for an afternoon of River Hawks baseball and good social times. So that's happening on Sunday. We've got 150 people RSVP'd for our event, which actually, Mark, I'm super stoked about, because with COVID, we weren't able to host this event for a couple of years. So to reconnect and get together and see so many wonderful people that we've had the chance to work with, I'm super jacked about. And I think we've got about 30 some dogs RSVP'd for our event personally. And then proceeds will benefit the Edmonton Humane Society. We're going to have one of our favorite rescues on site, Zoe's Animal Rescue Society. We've got a little surprise for them. And then we've just got other stuff kind of planned here and there in terms of barbecues, one-off type events. But we're actively involved in that space and always trying to help out.
Can anybody go to this event?
Yeah, 100%. Tickets are available at gohawks.ca. One thing that's great about Remax Field is the affordability of the tickets, and it's a great family event. Tickets are $15. Concession prices are reasonable, so easy enough to rally up the family, head down to Remax Field, and $100 will probably get you there for a full afternoon of entertainment where you couldn't touch that at Rogers Place.
Yeah, or anywhere else in the world right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
We actually just put outfield sponsorship signage at Remax Field. We've never done anything like that. And we're a big believer in the park, the organization, and how it's being run, and again, the affordability of the ticket prices. So we've signed a 5-year commitment with the Riverhawks. So pretty happy about that.
Amazing. Check out Dave's sign at Remax Field, the Riverhawks. All right, we got a little bit of time left for our last segment, which is the fun and always interesting speed round. The questions have changed slightly from 3 or 4 or 5 months ago. So I'm going to hit you up with the speed round. There's 9 questions, and then we'll get this wrapped up.
Okie dokie.
Okay. First question: house or condo?
Oh, house.
Fixed or variable?
Fixed.
Okay. Okay. That's been a hot topic lately. And go ahead.
Easy to manage a payment, man. Knowing what your payment is, you can build things around it.
Yeah.
Especially in our current economic climate, I just think anything's possible, it seems like.
Yeah, I think the trend of variable over the last 25, 30 years might be bucked. Might be seen fixed for the foreseeable future. But who knows? Number 3, coffee or tea? Big coffee guy.
Coffee, brother.
Yeah. Okay, lift weights or run? You got to pick one.
Lift weights.
Yeah, Maria's the runner.
She is the runner. I'm the somewhat of a weight lifter.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are both gym junkies, though. I love it. You guys are really inspirational, always posting every morning, like clockwork. It's incredible.
We just made taking care of ourselves a personal priority so we can better serve our clients and take care of each other.
Yeah. Well, when you're showing 50 homes a weekend, you got to be able to be fit and move around, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Morning or evening?
Morning.
BMW or Mercedes?
Mercedes.
What's your favorite hobby or pastime?
Snowboarding.
Oh, okay, good. What kind of music are you listening to right now?
Jeez, man, I am an old school hip hop, Eazy-E, NWA, stuff like that, Ice-T, but then I'm still like an EDM kind of guy, and I love some old school country. So I'm all over the board, dude.
That was, I think, like verbatim what you said 5 months ago. So you're consistent. You're still listening to the old jams.
Yeah.
Okay, and last one. I don't know if you're a book reader, a big book guy or Audible guy, but any last books or Audibles that you've read?
You know what? I've done 4 books this year. Exactly What to Say, which is kind of a real estate book. There. That's not the book, obviously, but that's some of it. And then I finished Never Finished by David Goggins, UOU, and then a couple of others. So you know what? I don't mind an audiobook. I try to do about one a month.
Goggins is a beast, hey?
Man, I love it. He's just grit, perseverance, discipline, and mental toughness, and doesn't give up. I admire that in someone.
Yeah, I think a lot of people could learn from Goggins, especially right now in our society with what's been happening the last few years. So I started reading his one book. It's called "You Can't Hurt Me" or something like that. Yeah.
Just his second one is Never Finished.
Never Finished. Yeah, he's a beast. Okay, great. That's it for Speed Round. Can you remind everyone where they can find you online, social media or otherwise?
Yeah, Mark, for sure. We've got ourselves visibly active on the internet or the World Wide Web. We've got a very busy Google business page, Dave Ozubko Real Estate Team. I think we've got 170 plus Google reviews. And then our website is very, very simple at davesells.ca.
Amazing. Thanks for the update, all the information today. Thanks for jumping on for a quick call. Appreciate it.
Mark, always a pleasure. Excited to see you online, but even more excited to see you back home in Edmonton late August.
Amen. Talk to you soon, brother.
Love you, dude.